Welcome! I'm going to show you how to edit the 15-ounce 3 mug mock-up in Photoshop. First, you want to use this handy layers panel right here. So if you don't see the layers panel, go to Window and then click on Layers to bring it up. And then once it's up, you just want to click the arrow next to any of the mug layer groups to expand it. And then double click the thumbnail icon in the Design-Mug layer. And that's going to open up a smart object where you can copy and paste your design. And then go to File, Open, and find your design. And then once that opens, you want to go to Select All, then Edit, Copy, and then click back on the Smart Object tab and go to Edit, Paste. And it might not be quite the size you want, so I'm going to zoom out, which is Control minus on a PC or Command minus on a Mac, and then go to Edit, Free Transform, and I'm just going to click and drag any one of the 4 corners in order to resize the image. In newer versions of Photoshop, you can just click and drag and it'll keep it proportional. In older versions, you used to have to hold down the Shift key while clicking and dragging in order to keep the design from getting distorted. So if you see it getting distorted, just go to Edit, Undo, and then do the opposite of whatever you were doing, whether that's holding down the Shift key or not holding it down. And when you're good, you can go to File, Save, to save the smart object. And then just close the smart object and your original image. And you'll see it put the image on the mug for us, just like that. And then we can repeat the same thing with the other 2 mugs. But this time we already copied, so we can just go to Edit, Paste. And I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform again, and click and drag. And then File, Save. Close the smart object. And we'll click the arrow for the 3rd mug, double click the design layer, and go to Edit, Paste again. And then Edit, Free Transform. And we'll move it into place. Then we'll go to File, Save. And once it's done saving, we'll close that. You'll see it has a design on 3 mugs, just like that. If you want to change the color of the interior or the handle, you just click the box next to the Color Dash Handle or Color Dash Interior layer to turn those layers on, and then double click the thumbnail icon in the Color Dash layers. And that's going to bring up a color picker. You can just click in the rainbow slider to change the color, and you can click in the gradiated box to change the lightness and darkness of that color. And then if you wanted to copy and paste the color, you could just click and drag in this box next to the pound sign, and then press Control C on a PC or Command C on a Mac. And then you can click the thumbnail icon in another layer. And then click and drag to select the number next to the pound sign again. And press Control V on a PC or Command V on a Mac. And you can copy and paste your colors to multiple layers that way really easily. If you want to edit the shadows underneath the mugs, you can change the lightness and darkness by clicking the arrow next to Shadows under Mug, and then clicking any of the other layer groups for each group of shadows, whether the left, middle, or right mug. And then once you've clicked on the shadow layer, you can just click the down arrow next to opacity and drag the slider to the right to make the shadow darker, or the left to make it more subtle. can also edit the contrast of the shading on the mug. So you'll see this more shading layer here. Click the box next to it to turn it on, and then click on the more shading layer group, and then click the down arrow next to opacity again, and drag it to the right to make the mug more contrasty, and to the left to make it more subtle. And if you wish, you can also change the background. So we click this arrow next to the backgrounds layer. It'll expand that layer group. And you'll see we have the table backgrounds and also just a white background as a bonus. Or you can add your own background by going to File, Open, and then just finding a background image you like, and then going to Select All, Edit, Copy, then going back to the mockup and going to Edit, Paste. And depending on what layer you had selected when you pasted it, could have pasted at the top if you had the top layer selected. So you might need to click and drag your background layer to underneath the other layers. And that's all there is to editing the 3 mug mockup in Photoshop. Please message me at melissabmockups.com if you have any questions. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you get updates to future videos. And if you want to use this as a thumbnail, like on Etsy, you're probably going to want to save a version as a JPEG. So to do that, just go to File, Save a Copy, and then change this drop down next to Save as Type to JPEG, and save it wherever you want to. You could also come back here a second time and save a copy as a PSD, maybe even change the name for each one of your designs so that you have a PSD file with each design. And as always, this mockup and other mockups are available at melissabmockups.com. Thank you.